Welcome back to the Coach Tim Beck Show, presented by CDL Electric. Eddie Lomchek along with Pitt State head football coach Tim Beck. That was a huge play, opening possession of the game. Western ends up punting the football, and John Brown, and over-the-shoulder catch, and circuitous route to the end zone, but it does count. We want to thank Ahmad and his staff here at Chatters, and also part of the family Fat Daddies. And if you're here, make sure you sign up. They have some coupons here, or gift certificates, I should say. Free breakfast at Fat Daddy's, drinks only, includes drinks. You do the honors, Coach. You draw the first one out of there and see who wins. Dave Chapetti. Dave, come up here and get your crowd favorite. So come and get your free gift certificate to a free breakfast at Fat Daddy's. Drinks included. Probably a limit on those drinks, so we'll gladly send you there and have fun with it. 34-7, season opening win at Missouri Western, and heard the special teams play, but I want to start with your defense because one pass interference penalty on that drive, first possession of the game, kept it alive for Western, but it was pretty evident early on your defense is much improved from a year ago. How much of that just has to do with experience and those guys know what to do, where to go so they can go hard?
Well, a lot of it has to do with that, and knowing where they're going and what they're doing is exactly right. You know, it starts with our defensive line. You know, like I said, we took 8 defensive linemen. They all played, and we got tremendous pressure all night with those guys. And there were a couple of times where we had a guy get a sack, but if he wouldn't have, there was another 1 or 2 guys that were right there that were going to get part of the sack. So ended up with 5 sacks for the game, and boy, just put tremendous pressure on them. And so they tried to run zone read a couple of times, and we were able to blow up the mesh and get after them. And I think with a new quarterback and being his first game, and they're wanting to come out and do some big things with him, and we kind of got after him early, and it flustered him a little bit. So our defensive coaching staff and players did a tremendous job throughout the night.
In that game, some of those sacks, 5 sacks, 4 takeaways, 2 fumbles, they lost 1. How much of that, too? It seemed like a couple were kind of coverage sacks, but how much of that has helped that you didn't have to blitz your linebackers much because you were able to get pressure, and that helps that coverage?
Yeah, no question. And, whether you're a 3-man front or a 4-man front, eventually, sooner or later, you want to play some man coverage and bring pressure. But when you absolutely don't have to do it, and you can take those 4 guys up front and get after it, every once in a while you'll see a team get after somebody with 3-man front, well, if you can do it with those 4 defensive linemen and not have to bring extra linebackers and play straight man coverage, boy, it makes a difference, and we were able to do that several times.
Well, you do get the stop, and then, of course, the punt, and John Brown, new to your program. If people don't know, he's from South Florida, played 1 year back east at Division II Mars Hill in North Carolina, then redshirted 1 year at Coffeyville Community College, so he's only a sophomore in eligibility. And I remember you telling me in the spring, talking about the receiving corps, and mentioned him, and he did not go through spring drills, but knew you were going to have him. Not real big, I don't know, 5'10", 170 range maybe. High hopes, I know, but boy, he's a playmaker.
He is a playmaker, and the great thing about John is he's an extremely hard worker. He's a very unselfish player, and so boy, he's just been awesome from the day he walked in here. A lot of times when you have a transfer, whether it be a JUCO or a transfer from somewhere, it usually takes him 4, 5, 6 games to really get comfortable and really get going. But he's really done a good job of fitting in. And the day he walked in here, he's been comfortable. Everybody loves him, and he's just a lot of fun to coach and a lot of fun to be around. He comes to practice every day with a smile on his face and works extremely hard. So he's been a great addition to our team.
How about the return? Hey, that was a great kick by their guy. It's head towards the sideline. He has to make an over-the-shoulder catch. He literally runs about 95% the width of the field before he ever goes vertical. A couple of blocks help him get wide. What's your thought process seeing him run all the way across the field?
Well, we had a mug called where we're just trying to lock up on everybody and let him kind of wiggle through. And you're exactly right. He had to cover some territory just to catch the thing. And first of all, and so then he goes a long way, catches it. Andrew Castaneda is one of our gunner defenders, and he does a good job of staying with his guy and getting a little bit of a push on the first guy, which got him loose. And then initially, we're thinking maybe he's going to go left, and then he ends up going up the middle a little bit and then breaks it out right. So he had to cover a lot of ground to get where he did. And, you know, we had 2 or 3 people who made some really good decisions on not clipping somebody in the back and sprung him loose. And then, you know, once he got out in the open, it was, you know, here we go. He's going to go.
Now you expect him to do that every time, right?
Well, you know, we gave him. He had another return later. It was 24 yards. We kind of gave him a bad time today in film. You know, he went 24 yards when the punter tackled him. So we don't want the punter to be tackled very often. But no, he had a couple other nice returns where he gets a few yards on one where he should have been tackled when he caught it, and then another 24-yard return. Therefore, he ended up being the MIAA Special Teams Player of the Week.
Yeah, a good day for him, and Gus Toker earned that honor for the defense, and we'll talk about Gus in a little bit. After that, Western gets the ball back. They go 3 and out. You get it. You end up having to punt after 1 first down. They get it 1 first down, have to punt. You're stuck at your own 19 because field position was pretty good to you, I thought, in this game, but this time from your own 19, 6 plays, 81 yards. Zach gets the final 44 of that. But that's a drive. When you start in that part of the field and you get any points, it's a good possession for you.
Yeah, there's no question. When you have to drive it that far, you can go down and get points, or even sometimes go down and then pin them inside their 15, 10-yard line is a good possession offensively. But able to go down and converted a huge third down conversion, and Zach goes the distance. And that's one thing we were not very good at, third down conversions, but that was one where we converted it and had a really nice block by Eric Love and got him to the secondary, and then once he got the secondary, it was over.
2 for 12, but Western just 1 of 13. How big of a stat is that there comes a point in the game that maybe you're winning and you just need to milk some clock and convert some of those and not give the ball back or have incomplete passes to stop the clock, but how much emphasis do you put on third downs on both sides of the ball?
Well, it's definitely something we've got to get better at. You know, the one thing, you know, when we got to the point where we were 28-0, then we changed a little bit offensively. We weren't quite as balanced as we'd like to be, but on the other hand, you're exactly right. If we show that we can go get first downs and keep the ball on the ground and keep the clock running, then we need to do that. So, kind of just depends on how you're doing at the time. But being up 28-0, there's no reason, you know, to just line up and throw the ball every snap either. So you got to be smart about what you're doing. And I thought we still executed pretty well in the third and fourth quarters. We just, you know, only ended up getting 6 points in the second half. But again, we had some time where we, you know, gave our defense a rest and kept them fresh and took some time off the clock.
That defense, not only your D-line, but they pretty active and good from the word go. Your D-backs, I think it was Paul Robinson had the hit and knocked his helmet off. Olabode had a pick and pass breakups in there. So front part did their job, but against a team with some good receivers, how'd you feel with your secondary?
Felt like they did, for the most part, did a really good job. Very active, very fast. I think the one thing that sticks out on video as you watch ourselves is, boy, there's a time when somebody may break, and then we've got people that get in there in a hurry. There's a time where Chad Smith comes across the field, and he's a streak going across there. So, you know, we're getting the ball extremely well, and we had the one breakdown late, but we gave him a 60-yard touchdown. But other than that, you know, we flew around the ball very well.
In that secondary, some new faces, a couple of experienced ones, but Aries Herron is a redshirt freshman cornerback, not a very big young man from a good program, Booker T in Tulsa. What kind of player is he for you?
Aries is a good player. We were, very pleased with him in the spring. Coach Weimer said last year, you know, he's going to be a good player for us, and boy, it's nice. We've got, having Arias come in there and get the reps that he got the other night, and then along with true freshman Devontae Bosby, who came in and played. And when you're talking about putting an 18-year-old out there at corner, sometimes that makes you a little bit nervous. But boy, he had a nice break on a ball too, and showed that he can play as well.
Yeah, I don't know if he mistimed his jump on a would-be pick. It was close maybe, but there's a very rangy kid, 6'2", listed at like 165. Reading about him, though, big-time numbers as a receiver and a D-back at Hogan Prep in Kansas City, so I'm sure you want him to fill out eventually, but it looks like just a very raw, instinctive athlete.
Yeah, he is, and he's one that Coach Rampy kind of found him and started recruiting him, and, his sometimes high school video, a lot of it now is the first thing you see is their highlights and everything, but his high school video was very, very good on both sides of the ball. And so the day we saw him and the day we started recruiting him, we were very aggressive when we recruited him, and we're the first place that he actually took an official visit to, and And he had some other teams in our conference that hounded him pretty hard, but he ended up committing with us fairly early and stuck with it. So, we're very happy to have him on our roster.
And then Naeem Forrester, we talked about a little bit, a guy that didn't play last year, but he's a guy that you can see a difference to me just in the fall and the spring with him, and makes up his mind where he goes. He can be a factor and a physical player.
Yeah, and I think the longer we go, Naeem will get more and more comfortable. He's another one. He's a junior college transfer, but the other thing with him is he set out last year, didn't play last season. So, that's been part of the reason we got him. But he is much improved over the spring, and I think he'll continue to improve throughout the year.
Well, good night on that defensive side of the ball, and we haven't even talked about the linebackers. And you look at the stats, they didn't really do much, so they kind of had the night off, I guess, with the way they played up front and behind them. But good night and always on that side of the ball. We need to take another break. When we come back, we'll have our Vital Signs trivia contest for the Gorilla Nation Mobile Fan Club, and we'll talk more about that first half at Missouri Western. Adam Moore with Coach Beck after this.